Hello, friends. I thought I'd give you an update on the Christmas tree train layout and the big layout as well. It more or less picks up after the first update I made. Hold on, I'm getting a message. Oh, I haven't made the first video yet, but I'll get to that any day now. In any case, let's look at the Christmas tree train set layout first. Since the last time that I haven't made a video of yet, we've had some progress. The whole surface has been coated with a layer of Sculptamold plaster and then covered with a layer of grout compound mixed with real dirt sifted over the surface. The roadway's taken a beating in this process, so it will need to be refinished, but the tracks are completely ballasted and weathered. I used the same ballast to give Grandma's house a gravel driveway, complete with oil stains, because Grandma doesn't take good care of her car. On the opposite side, the part of the set that will be behind the Christmas tree, I had a lot of space to fill. But I had a ton of these pines. They're not display quality and are pretty uniform in height. Wait, we could make a tree farm. They're all pretty much too tall to be Christmas trees, so this will be a pulpwood farm, something I saw a lot of growing up. For the display trees, I found a variety of trees like these finished wire wrap trees. They're pretty good, but I think we can improve them. Here's an even more finished tree that's ready to have leaves attached to them, although those trunks are going to need some work. All the same shade of brown. And then finally we've got these trees that will need the most amount of work to make them look realistic, but they come in huge bags. These will get twisted into a tree-like shape, molding lines scraped down off the side, and then we'll paint it and add little bits of fine structure, basically weeds, to give it some thinner branches. For the grass, we've got a variety of long, medium, and short static grass. These will get covered by snow, but this way there'll be tufts poking through the snow here and there. Speaking of snow, we've got water effects gel for icicles, flex paste, which dries white for snowdrifts and thick snow, and very, very fine flake snow to sprinkle over the trees. Alright, so on to the big layout. You remember from part 1, which again I haven't made yet, that across the back edge of the layout there was an RGB LED strip that could fade and cycle through a lot of colors to simulate a sunrise and sunset cycle. One problem I had was programming and controlling a realistic sunrise and set cycle with the Arduino Uno that I had. But I discovered, while researching Arduino programming, that there are addressable RGB strips. Each individual LED can have its own color and brightness independent of the others. The strips themselves come in a variety of LED densities, voltages, and weatherproofing. This 5 meter or about 16-foot reel came with outdoor weatherproofing that I don't really need indoors, but this was the only style the seller had available when I ordered it. So we use this. You can see that the strip is moderately dense with LEDs, about 60 per meter. This next one, I'm sorry about the focus, is a lot denser, about 100 LEDs per meter. It's also the indoor, not weatherproof variety. To connect it up, each end has a power positive and negative and a green data wire attached to a handy connector. There are also 2 additional power wires, but they really don't need to be. At the end of the reel, there's another connector for daisy chaining lights together and 2 more power wires. These are actually handy for injecting power if you notice the lights at the end are dimmer than the ones at the beginning. Powering this is an Esp8266 Microcontroller. It has a USB port for programming, which I use to put the WLED software on the chip. It also has Wi-Fi, so it sits on the network for control. And it's cheap, it's about $7 a piece. And this is really all you need, but I'm plugging it into a breakout board that allows you to use 5 or 12 volts and buffers the power as well as boosting the data signal. I'm leaving the ESP off for right now so I can attach the wires to these terminals. Power is provided by a 5-volt power brick that can provide up to 10 amps, which is way more than I need for this. So we hooked everything up and voila, everything works. And the end of the reel looks almost as bright as the front, but we'll unspool it and check. The really nice thing about this controller is that since it's on the network, I can control it from a phone app or my PC. It brings up a wedge page that lets me do things like change the 80 programmed patterns like so. Unspooled, it looks like the brightness is even from end to end. It's hard to tell as well on camera, but they were equal to my eyes, which is good because that means we won't have to inject power at the end. So now it's time to install it. The power brick went under the table, while the controller and breakout box, now sporting a fancy acrylic case, get mounted on the wall where they're easy to get to. Still got some cable tidying to do. And here it is in action. This pattern is called Scanner Dual, and it's a nice effect. And there's also a random lightning simulator. I'm sure this will come in handy, but neither of them are sunset, are they? Ah, there we go. The effect is on a fast cycle, so I can see what it looks like. I'll slow it down to a realistic cycle later. Well, that's it for this update. Next time we'll get those trees looking good and positioned on the set. After we finish part 1.